What is solicitation? It is not begging. We don't go around begging people for money. We're not holding out the hat everywhere we go and asking people to chip in a few coins because they feel guilty about our situation or the situation of the people that we're serving. Another misconception that Christians have often about fundraising is that it is a sales job, that we are snake oil salesmen, and that we are trying through deception and through all of our different mechanisms to make people give money that they don't want to give. We are not trying to do that. That's not what asking is. There's a perception out there that the best fundraisers are the best conversationalists and the smooth talkers. In my experience, that is not true. Humble listeners outraise the smooth talkers day in and day out. And they do that because people respond to their humility, to their passion, and to their sensitivity a lot better than they do to someone who's proud and who's just wants to talk about how great they are and how great their organization is. What we want to do when we're soliciting, when we are asking people for money, is we want to find a match between their passion and the vision and mission of this organization. If we can do that, then I think we're doing them a favor and we're doing our organizations a favor as well. What we're looking for is that fit. And sometimes that requires, if we're not seeing a fit, not pushing the issue any further. And walking away from a donor relationship because it may not be where their passion is. Brief story, we got a $50,000 gift from a couple last year who has incredible financial capacity, and they love what we do, and they were really excited about it. I was excited about it. I thought we'd keep getting more and more. I had a conversation with them earlier this year, and they said, Joel, we've really been trying to figure out what God's calling us to do with our money, and we love what you do, and we really want it to flourish, but we don't feel like God has called us to put our money into Jill's house anymore. Of course, that's devastating for someone like me to hear. But they were honest, and I'm really grateful for that. And they just said, you know what, this is not our passion. This is not what we feel that God has called us to do with our money. And so being respectful of that. The point is we want to find a match between what God's put on people's hearts and where our organizations are headed. And that's what solicitation is about. We already went through this slide before about what motivates a gift. It's the head, understanding how people can make a difference. It's the heart. What is God calling us to do? What does he call us all to do? And it's making that bold, clear, specific call to action. This is where we can learn a lot from sales. One of the maxims of sales is you have to ask for the order. No one is just going to buy your product without you asking them to buy your product. You need to call them to do it. And I think that's where we as Christian fundraisers can learn a lot from sales, that what we don't ask for, we tend not to get. One of my other favorite fundraising consultants has a line. He says, the gifts we don't ask for hurt us more than the gifts we do ask for. So that's just his way of encouraging us to be bold and to be clear in our asking. We're going to get a lot further than if we don't ask. Why is asking so important? Because we're fundamentally selfish. No one wakes up, or very few people wake up in the morning deciding that they want to give money to our organizations. That just doesn't happen. We need to be proactive, and we need to go do things to get people out of, to make them aware of our organizations and to try to find that match. They're not just going to find that on their own most times. Just like we need to be called to obedience in so many areas of our lives, we need to be called to generosity. And that's why we can do people a favor when we are boldly, clearly, specifically asking them to give of what God has given them. And clarity, and this is an important point. We talked a little bit about George Mueller last night, and there's an article that I have, and I'd be happy to share it with anyone, written by a missionary who talked about some of the shortfalls of George Mueller's approach to giving. And one of his critiques of Mueller is that good relationships have trust, and trust takes transparency. And what Mueller did by never sharing his needs was not building trusting relationships with the people who were in his sphere. And I think when we have true relationships with people, we do need to be clear and we need to be transparent with them, and that's for everyone's benefit. It was mentioned earlier that some donors are able to help us think through our organizational issues better than we are. And it means that we need to be vulnerable about what our needs are as an organization, what our challenges are, what the successes are. But being transparent about our organizations is really important. And asking for something specific, a specific amount for a specific project, helps bring that clarity, that transparency, and that builds trust. And I think that's ultimately good.